Proceed.
Good morning, all. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's 8:31. We had time to look over the agenda, any submissions, errors. We'd like to approval of the agenda, that the agenda for the Police Services Board meeting of June 29th, 2022 be accepted as presented. Do I have a mover? Moved by Lashaway, seconded by Ostrander. And all in favor? Motion is carried. Are there any declarations of interest? None. There are no presentations. We do have a delegation from Emily Leclerc of Mad Canada Campaign. Ms. Leclerc.
Hi, everyone. My name's Emma.
Hi, Emily. The floor is yours, Emily.
All right. So I'm not sure if everybody knows, but I am a member with MAD Canada. I also am a member with the OPP Auxiliary Unit. So I had kind of working as an auxiliary, I had interest in, well, I've been to collisions, motor vehicle collisions resulting with impaired drivers. So I'd reach out to MAD and hope to become a part of their team to kind of extend this MAD Call 911 campaign across municipalities that may not have a MAD chapter. For example, Prescott, Pembroke, Renfrew, all of the Ottawa surrounding areas don't have enough of they don't have a big enough team to create their own chapter. So MAD Ottawa had funds, extra funds in place due to COVID-19. We had a little bit more wiggle room. So we had actually reached out to multiple municipalities to hope to extend this program across outlying regions in the Ottawa area. Prescott is one of them that we've reached out to. I have submitted a mock-up sign to, I think it was a staff or a sergeant from, I can't remember now. Must have been Leeds and Grenville. I can't remember his last name, but I had submitted a sign and a kind of a mock-up for approval. But essentially how this will work is I asked for locations, so locations of signs, and we look at sign placement in areas of high impaired calls or high impaired areas that we've seen more people being arrested for those charges, specifically highways or small roadways that individuals who do drive, unfortunately impaired, take the back roads. So we look for roads like that are more prominent for individuals to quote calling 911 if they suspect a driver in front of them is impaired. These signs are completely funded by MAD, so we don't ask any funds from the police service boards. We just ask for a sign development company. We ask for what their sign's looking for, what they want written on the sign, which I had already received and created a mock sign. So at this point for Prescott, I believe we're at the approval stage, and then we can get those signs rolling, printed out and put up. I believe I have received locations from Prescott as to where they want the signs. I don't have it all up in front of me right now, but I believe I have all the details surrounding that for Prescott. But essentially that's the MAD campaign and its whole, the Call 911 campaign, fully funded by us. And we're just hoping to extend this program across smaller municipalities that have seen higher rise in impaired calls and have a less of an opportunity to promote it due to lack of funding or due to lack of MAD chapters being around. Does anybody have any questions for me? Any comments?
Any questions? You mentioned some of the locations around town. Do you have those locations?
Yes, I'm pulling them up as of right now, just as we speak. I was speaking to the inspector in Leeds and Grenville, and he had mentioned, so for Prescott, I have east and west end of King Street and southbound on County Road 18 coming onto Edward. I'd spoken with Inspector Kingsley, and Shane Belanger was my contact who I had sent my mock-up sign to.
Now, do we have a lot, is there any chance a sign could be, because those two areas are heavily used. There's signage all over the place.
Okay.
Now, would these signs be lost or, within all the other signs that are there?
Specifically, I don't know those roads. I've been told that those are where the areas that they were looking to put them up. The signs are 24 by 36, and I've been requested to print 3 of them. We could always do more or change the locations. They haven't been printed as of yet, so we have some wiggle room before they get developed.
Okay. Is there any other questions? Mayor Todd, anything?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair. It all sounds good, and those locations seem very fitting as well. So, full support.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that's great.
Would you like me to send the mock-up sign to anybody here? I don't know if you had received it, if Sergeant Belanger had forwarded that to yourself.
Yes, we have a print out of one.
Okay, awesome.
That's great.
Okay.
There are
Thank you
no
for
other
having me.
questions? Thank you, Emily. Thank you. Moving on to item number 6 is a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting held on May 26, 2022. That the Police Services Board minutes, May 26, 2022 be accepted as presented. Excuse me. Do I have a mover? Moved by Mike Ostrander and seconded by Jeff Lashaway. All in favor? Motion is carried. There are no action items under 7.1, and there are no information items. We will now move on to the Police Service Report. Grace?
All right, morning, everybody. So I'm going to go through the May 2022 Police Services Board report. So if you see on page 2, we will go through the RMS violent and property and drug crime incidents. So you will see in May of 2022, we had 6 assaults. That seemed to be a little higher than we had last year. And as a result, we looked into that, and 5 of those had been cleared by charge, and one other incident, the victim did not want any charges laid there. As we roll through, we had 4 other crimes against persons, which was the same amount last year that we had. And if we look at the percentage changes, our sexual assaults year over date are up 60%. But the numbers are quite low if you look at them, 5 versus 8. And we have no serial concerns about that. And our assaults are up 12.5%, but the numbers again are a small increment from 8 to 9. And then our other crimes against persons dropped down from 13 to 10 with a 23% decrease. So overall, the change is 3.8% increase. In the property crimes category, you'll see that there were zeros in break-and-enters, theft overs, arsons, and we had 4 theft unders, which I believe were minor thefts in the month of May. 1 fraud and 3 mischiefs. And then if you look at the change year to date from May of last year, we have a 50% decrease in break-and-enters, 100% decrease in theft overs, a slight increase in theft unders, a slight increase in frauds and a decrease in mischiefs, with an overall decrease of 31.2%. In our drug crime categories, we had nothing in the month of May, and overall year-to-date change is 50%. Are there any questions in those categories? And if you look at the next page, we speak to the clearance rate of our violent crimes, property crimes, and drug crimes. And you will see that year-to-date, we have a 74.1% clearance rate of violent crimes, a 15.2% clearance rate of property crimes, which is a decrease of 14% year-to-date, and a drug crimes at 50%. And just recognizing that these numbers are dynamic in nature, and as we solve crimes, that number could fluctuate and change over time. Okay, I presume there's no questions on the 7-page called for service billing summary. So in the month of May, we had no public complaints of policy, service, or conduct. In our intelligence-led police and crime abatement strategy, we have 8 offenders in the program, and we had 10 checks that were performed. In our daily activity reporting patrol hours, we had 93.75 in the month of May. We had 18.5 foot patrol hours and 2.75 school patrol hours. In our detachment initiatives, we had 3 media releases and 6 various tweets on social media regarding impaired that was 3 times the legal limit, McHappy Day, our commercial motor vehicle blitz results of the time team, and a Shoppers Drug Mart theft arrests. For the crime and traffic campaigns during the month of May, Grenville County OPP participated in Canada Road Safety Week in May, from May 17th to the 23rd. We had full participation from our detachment, yielding a large number of charges, reference our Big Four. We also had a safe boating week that occurred May 21st to the 23rd, and we produced a video on safe boating that was made by our local marine operator during the campaign, stressing the importance of boating safety. And also we had a local commercial motor vehicle blitz that was held, and we had the support of our local time team, yielding good results. We had no break and enters in the month of May, therefore no safeguard offer Ontario had been offered. In our other category, we had 6 live calls that were attended by our MCERT response, where the MCERT and officer and the nurse, as well as other conducted follow-up to ensure those had been connected to services within the community. Are there any questions on that report?
Any questions? None? Well, then I have a recommendation that the police services report for May 2022 be accepted as presented. Do I have a mover and seconder? Moved by Jeff Loshway, seconded by Mike Ostrander. All in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you. We move on now. But thank you, Nancy. Move on to the bylaw update. John?
Hi, everyone. Excuse me. Yeah, our report's fairly simple. This past month, bylaw department coverage is being expanded to include numerous shifts, basically Tuesday to Saturday from 11 to 7 p.m. This will help provide more appropriate coverage of the beach and the park areas. Also, bylaw will be working with our normal officer, and Mr. Swan will be brought back to help during the Canada Day celebrations on July 1st. We continue to coordinate with the OPP, especially with Constable Hodges and other community members for related issues where overlap occurs. The current issue that we're dealing with right now is one homeless matter. Animal control, we're up to 206 tags issued, and 1 dog was seized during this period. In fact, it was last week. That person did not have a tag and they were charged appropriately. The vacant building registry, which came into effect January 1st, will actually become active during the month of July, as we will be sending out letters to the property owners The letters are basically all done up and we're sending them out after July 1st. And that will take quite a bit of bylaws time as we utilize not only inspecting the premises to know exactly what shape they're in, but as we start to document what they're capable to be used for and stuff like that. And that'll be passed on to the economic development people in town to help fill those buildings. For bylaw itself, there's currently 65 active issues, which have resulted in 12 orders or directions being issued by the bylaw department. And approximately 300 issues have been dealt with since the beginning of the year. Most of them are closed now, but there's still 65 that are up. Does anyone have any questions for me?
No, thank you, Sean. We move on to old business. Nancy, would you speak to the draft signage provided? Mad Canada. Sorry?
Sorry, through you, Chair, that was what Emma had just discussed. So that's the signage, the draft signage.
Oh, okay.
This is an opportunity for the board to discuss if they approve the layout. Staff was directed in March to work with that on the signage, but not to afford without the approval of the board. So this is the opportunity for the board to review the signage at the presentation. Potentially pass a motion directing staff if that's how the board would like to move forward with the signage.
Any ideas or questions on the signage?
This is basically what we're approving.
The size is good, 2 by 3. So.
And there's no concern about sign pollution? Like, you know, with all the signs coming.
We'll be strategic in where we actually put them to try and alleviate, because right in front of the school,
Yeah.
kind of in that stretch is very, very congested.
Yes.
So we'll probably move it a little bit out. We might even put this under the kilometers on the bridge. Because then like there are not a lot of signs when you're coming up over the bridge. And so that might be a strategic place for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's well that they're separated a bit and helps get the message distinctly.
Okay. So is there any tweaking to be done to the signage, or is that acceptable? Mayor Todd?
Yeah, it's a really small point, but the draft isn't centered. So just, I'm sure the final will be fine, but it's just everything's skewed a little to the right on the draft. So just as long as someone can check that it's centered off before it's sent to the printer.
The what centered? Sorry, I missed that.
So everything's off centered to the right. It's just everything just needs to be shifted over a touch.
Oh, okay.
So just as long as someone checks that before it's printed up.
Anything else? No, thank you. So we'll go with this. Yes.
I do have a draft motion prepared if the board, it sounds like the board is looking to direct staff to move
Okay.
forward with installation. I just read it up here, so I'll read it.
Okay.
If you like. That staff be directed to install the suggested MAD Canada signage at the west and east end of King Street and the north end of Edward.
Could I have a mover, please? Mike Ostrander, seconded by Jeff Loshaway. All in favor? Okay. Anything else? No, okay. Is there anything under new business? Anybody like, yes, Mayor Todd?
One real quick item, Mr. Chair, through you to Sergeant Graves. Just an observation, same old this time of year. Speeds seem to be up rather dramatically in town streets with the added traffic and people rushing around, usual trouble spots, King Streets, east and west. I'm always concerned about the area down by Centennial Park. And I will note also the crowds have been just absolutely wild already this year. We had that last weekend, we had hundreds of people down there over the 2 days. I've never seen it so packed on a June weekend. And just if we could ask for maybe a little added presence in those trouble spots. Edward Street North is really bad right now as well. It's just anecdotal, but it almost seems like the average speed is upwards of 60 in the north part of Edward at the moment. So just one of those things that seems to happen every spring, early summer.
Just to hook up with what the mayor said, I've had some concern about Park Street from east to Boundary. There's no stop sign there. It's just a wide open stretch. And there have been issues of people sort of heavy footed going through there. Just another place. Yes.
The only thing that's, and it's a little comical, I guess, is what's helping that is they've taken the top layer off the Duke Street extension. So I find now people coming down there, instead of wanting to go bumpty bump, they slow down a little. So, but that's only going to be temporary till they
today.
fix Duke Street.
The payment today.
So there we go. Is there anything else under new business? No. Any recommendations for the PSB service announcement? Do we use the MAD again, or does anybody have any ideas?
I was wondering if we wanted to share the boat safety video that the OPP produced.
Sure.
It's a good time of year to do that, and just reminding people.
Okay.
It's a good one. And then obviously we can also share the MAD campaign as well.
Okay. That's great. We use the vote one.
Have access to that?
It's posted.
Yeah.
All right. There are no items under the closed session, and there's under riser report, there's nothing to report. Any last thoughts or questions before we go to adjournment? No, then I have a recommendation that this meeting adjourn to Thursday, September 29th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Do I have a mover? Moved by Jeff Loshwood, seconded by Mike Ostrander. All those in favor? Motion is carried and it